portion of them not killed?
There were more people outside.
Chris, you're being disingenuous. In their empire, were a large portion of Christians that differed on the Orthodox position not killed?
I'm saying there were always, and there always are, a lot of Christians outside the empire.
Chris, you're not answering my question. I'm not asking about that.
You pretend as if Christianity is controlled.
I didn't say that. I'm not asking about a minority outside the empire. I'm asking in the empire, the large portion of Christians that differed with the Orthodox position, were they or were they not killed? No. And if you differ with me, I'll start quoting your sources.
Maybe a few were killed, but not a large portion.
Eusebius himself mentions it in the classical history. No. He himself mentions it.
I don't accept that at all.
So then why do you accept him when he calls us Papias?
There has always been lots of Christians who disagreed with the official teaching.
But you're cherry picking.
No, I'm saying that you pretend as if somebody's controlling all this.
No, Chris, you're cherry picking.
We're not talking about Islam where there's a caliph who controls all this.
That's a whole different
Christianity is completely different.
Chris, you are cherry.
There's always been Christians in Ethiopia.
I'm not talking about that.
Outside the empire.
I'm talking about in the empire.
Christians.
Chris,
there were Christians in England before the empire.
Chris, I'm talking about in the empire. I'm talking about in the empire.
But you want there to be a central control to Christianity.
No, I don't. I don't want that. What I'm saying is, Eusebius himself, you just denied what he said. So why do you accept when Eusebius quotes Papias as the evidence that these men wrote these accounts? No, wait, Chris, let me finish.
I've said,
let me finish. Chris, can I finish? Can I finish, please? You take Eusebius when he mentions Papias. You say that's a valid evidence. Now, when Eusebius himself says that people that differed on the creed were killed off, you reject it.
No, they weren't killed off.
Eusebius mentions it though.
They were just put outside the church.
So what I'm asking, why do you accept Eusebius when he quotes Papias, but then when he says that the Christians that differed with the Orthodox position were murdered, why do you dispute with him then?
There may have been a few. In the center of
why do you dispute? Why do you only agree with parts of what Eusebius says, but then when he says that they were killed off, you disagree with him?
Because my information about who wrote the New Testament doesn't come from Papias.
I'm talking about. So where does it come from?
Where does it come from? This is commonly accepted.
But where does it come from? Where does it come from?
There is nobody in the first centuries who said Matthew didn't write the book of Matthew.
There's nobody from the first century that said Matthew did write Matthew. No, Chris.
You have no proof for your position.
Chris, why I'm asking you, yes? You said that they weren't killed off. I said that your own historians, such as Eusebius, said they were. You're saying they weren't. What is your evidence and what's your reference?
I'm saying there was always lots of Christians outside the empire.
So what is your evidence?
Even if the empire...
What's your evidence, Chris?
This is logical, historical.
Chris, from who?
You know where Ethiopia is.
Chris.
Has it ever been in the empire?
Chris, I'm asking you. Okay. No, but I'm asking you, the claim that you're making, what's the evidence and what's the reference?
You claim the empire was all-powerful.
Chris, I'm asking the claim that you're making. I said Eusebius in the classical history, he mentions this point I'm making. The point you're making, what is your evidence and what is your reference?
Eusebius was in the center of power in the empire.
Chris, Chris, what is your evidence and what is your reference?
So, my evidence that there was lots of Christians outside the empire.
And what is the evidence?
Do I really need to?
Yes.
Do you know which empire we're talking about?
You told me.
The Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Around 300.
Yeah.
How big was it?
It was quite big.
Not that big anymore.
It wasn't that small. It was quite big.
The west.
It was large.
The west of the empire was overrun by the Goths. It was already at that time. The empire wasn't very strong in the west.
Chris,
what was happening in the east?
Chris, the point that you're making.
Okay.
Your
was Ethiopia in the empire?
Can I respond?
No. Huh?
Can I respond? Because you're asking me a question. The point that you're making, your scholars, your historians from the 4th century onwards have admitted in their own books, which I quoted you, classical history, he said they were killed off. You're saying that's not the case. I'm asking.
Well, maybe a few.
Chris, I'm asking.
The Ebionites lived on.
Chris, can I finish?
You know,
Chris, can I finish? Chris,
the Ebionites lived on outside.
Chris,
the
can I finish? Can I finish? If you're gonna make a claim, can you give me the evidence and the reference? Saying it's common knowledge is not evidence.
You know and I know the Ebionites lived on.
Chris, can you give me evidence and a reference?
You know that. You can do your historic research.
Can you give?
I'm not presenting a paper on Ebionites here.
Neither am I, but I managed to quote Eusebius' classical history. Can you give me evidence and a reference?
I'm saying your claim that we can't trust the Bible flies in the face of everything early Christians believed. It flies in the face of what the Quran states. So it's fine if you don't want to believe it.
Are you going to address the point or not? Because
that's the point.
It's nice talking to you.
You're out of sync with everybody.
There's no point having this conversation because you won't give me. If you won't give a reference or evidence, there's no point.